Kyrie Irving has faced many obstacles throughout his NBA career, but none as tricky as his recent suspension from the Boston Celtics. After being suspended just 3 games into the season, Kyrie was determined to find a way to get back into game shape and rhythm as quickly as possible. How difficult was it to get back into rhythm? What was it like to practice with the G League team? We will also discuss the top 5 longest player suspensions in the NBA. First up, how difficult was it to get back into rhythm? When Kyrie Irving was suspended from the Boston Celtics just 3 games into the season, it felt like a huge mountain to climb for him. He had already worked hard during the offseason and preseason to get back in shape and ready for competition. Suddenly, he faced an unexpected obstacle that threw all his plans off track. To make matters worse, he didn't even have access to practice or training facilities with the team due to his suspension. However, determined not to let this setback derail him, Kyrie put in extra work at home and went out of his way to train with Maine Red Claws of the G League whenever possible. Despite having limited access and time available, Kyrie managed to stay focused on getting himself back in game shape as quickly as possible, so that when he returned after serving his suspension period, he could be ready for action right away, something which ultimately paid off as evidenced by how well he performed soon after returning. Next up, what was it like to practice with the G League team? Kyrie Irving was determined to get back into game shape and rhythm as quickly as possible despite the limitations of his suspension. With help from his teammates, who kept him accountable on off days, Kyrie sought out alternative means to stay in playing form. He found an opportunity with the Maine Red Claws, a G League team associated with the Celtics organization. When Kyrie Irving arrived at practice for the Maine Red Claws, it was clear that he meant business. Every drill or exercise seemed like a competition within himself, pushing himself further than before each time, so that when he eventually returned back to the Celtics lineup, there would be no doubt about how hard he had worked during his suspension period. Even though Kyrie knew there were certain restrictions due to being part of another organization's team, such as not being able to use their facilities or equipment until after hours were over, it didn't stop him from putting total effort into every session and working harder than ever before, so that when it came time for him to return back onto the court for Boston, everyone could see how much better prepared he was compared to prior. Next up, how did Kyrie's hard work pay off? Kyrie Irving's commitment paid dividends for him and the Celtics organization alike. Not only did it help keep him focused during a difficult time, but it allowed him to come back stronger than ever after just 3 games away from the action. This extra work helped make up for lost practice time. It enabled Kyrie to hit the ground running upon returning so that everyone could see how much better prepared he was compared to prior. The results spoke for themselves, thanks in large part because of these practices with Maine Red Claws during his short absence from play. Kyrie was quickly able to slip right back into action without missing a beat, something which wouldn't have been nearly as easy if not for all those long hours spent on perfecting his skill set away from home court. Next off, how did Kyrie Irving receive support from his teammates? Kyrie Irving's dedication to the game didn't go unnoticed. His teammates on the Celtics saw his commitment. They wanted to show their support in any way they could, from offering encouragement before practices to helping him with drills or even hanging out and shooting hoops for fun. Their bond grew even more vital during this time as everyone was there for each other through thick and thin. No matter how tough it got, Kyrie knew he could always count on his team when things were looking down. Every practice seemed almost like a family affair, with everyone rooting one another on throughout the entire process. When Kyrie eventually returned after serving his suspension period, all the hard work he had put in. At the same time, training with Maine Red Claws paid off. Not only did it help keep him focused and allowed him to come back stronger than ever, all his teammates were proud of Kyrie's efforts both on court and off. They welcomed him back into action warmly by clapping for every good play he made or cheering whenever he scored points. It was clear that even though Kyrie had been away from home court for 3 games, nothing changed between them. If anything, their bond grew more solid due to their shared experiences throughout this trying time. Number 5. Javaris Crittenton, 38 games. One of the darkest stories in NBA history is Javaris Crittenton. The Los Angeles Lakers selected this 6'5" shooting guard with the number 19 overall pick in the 2007 NBA draft. He lasted 2 seasons before an incident with Gilbert Arenas ended his career. Like Arenas, Crittenton violated the law by carrying and keeping an illegal firearm in his locker. He received a 38-game suspension from the NBA after pleading guilty to misdemeanor gun possession charges. Crittenton was sentenced to a year of unsupervised probation and community work, worsening his problems. Due to Javaris's inferior talent to Gilbert Arenas, an all-star, the Wizards deemed him unnecessary and had him waived so he would never again be able to compete in the NBA. Crittenton's bleak future was hinted at by the this occurrence, as he would later be charged with manslaughter in 2011 while serving a 23-year jail sentence. Number 4. Gilbert Arenas, 50 games. Gilbert Arenas, one of the league's most gifted and productive scorers, had a shot at the Hall of Fame. Golden State Warriors selected Gilbert Arenas with the number 31 overall pick. He developed into a 3-time All-Star while playing for the Washington Wizards, forming a potent trio with Anton Jameson and Karen Butler. Gilbert, aka Agent Zero, was renowned for his 60-point performance against Kobe Bryant and the Lakers in 2006, and for making game-winning jumpers. However, Arenas is also recognized for a foolish event involving his ex-teammate Javaris Crittenden and for keeping weapons in the locker room. The event that led to Arenas' suspension without pay was investigated for breaching both the regulations of the NBA and local Washington, D.C. After that occurrence, Gilbert never recovered to his previous level of greatness, since it is tough to bounce back after your own squad abandoned you. Gilbert is another what-if scenario, and his lack of forethought prevented him from being inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame. Number 3. Latrell Sprewell, 68 games. The main reason Latrell Sprewell had such a successful career was his theatrics. The 6'5" small forward selected with the 24th overall choice in the 1992 NBA Draft earned 2 All-Star teams while playing for the Golden State Warriors and made the All-Rookie team by averaging 15.4 points per game. Sprewell had a solid all-around game and an offensive gift and appeared bound for success. The forward committed the unthinkable by attacking his head coach during his 3rd All-Star season. After the NBA star choked, punched, and threatened the other party, Sprewell and head coach PJ Carlesimo got into a fight. Latrell had previous fights with teammates in 1993 and 1995, so this wasn't the first time. Sprewell's unjust 68-game suspension cost him a lot of games, and his reputation was severely damaged. Sprewell, a gifted NBA player, would subsequently receive a house detention sentence for reckless driving while he was suspended, which made problems worse. The forward, who made a total of 4 All-Star teams throughout 13 seasons, despite having the potential to be more, would have been a true All-Star for years had he maintained his focus. Number 2. Ron Artest, 86 games. Ron Artest, one of the most well-known and infamous players in NBA history, was renowned for having a tendency to act and think a little wrong. He was one of the most influential small strikers of his day, thanks to his defensive prowess and genuine love of the game. Artest, selected by the Chicago Bulls with pick number 16 in the 1999 NBA Draft, won the award for a Best Defensive Player in 2004 while playing for the Indiana Pacers. Artest also earned All-NBA and his first All-Star team honors that year. Along with having a solid season, Artest, now known as Metta World Peace, supported Kobe Bryant as the Lakers pursued the 2010 NBA championship. But without question, Ron Artest's famed malice at the palace will live on in history. After being offended by a bottle striking him in the head, Artest entered the audience and started throwing fists at those there. By doing that, Artest violated every NBA rule. David Stern was adamant that the forward would be subject to heavy fines, about $5 million in lost income, and a lengthy ban of 86 games. The punishment for Artest is the most severe ever for an on-court incident, and scarcely anyone could contest its imposition. Number 1. O.J. Mayo, 164 games. Even Ron Artest's participation in the historic Malice at the Palace fight did not override O.J. Mayo's ban, which ended his career. The shooting guard, who was selected 3rd overall in the 2008 NBA Draft, has a ton of potential as a scorer and sniper. He earned a spot on the All-Rookie team by losing the Rookie of the Year award to Kevin Durant and averaging 18.5 points per game. While Mayo was displaying moments of greatness, Durant was a unique scorer. Memphis thought they had a rising talent on their hands. Before his fantastic ban in 2016, Mayo would be traded twice more and never improve his all-around performance. Mayo acknowledged using that the NBA has outlawed, including and prescription painkillers. As a result, the shooting guard was given a 2-year suspension from the league, with the possibility of a 2019 season reinstatement. Naturally, Mayo was 31 years old by that point and could not regain the peripheral all-star form he displayed at the beginning of his career. After being suspended from the Celtics, it was difficult for him to get back into the rhythm of games. Through hard work and dedication, he found his groove again and will now be an integral part of a winning team. Who is your favorite NBA player of all time? Which player suspension do you think was the most unfair? Make sure to let us know your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.